What's up, Bengals Nation? Welcome back. I'm Chris Dotra, and this is Bengals Breakdown, your spot for everything orange and black. Cincinnati fans, there's real buzz in the air today. The Bengals just made it official. Joe Flacco will start this week against the Green Bay Packers. Head coach Zac Taylor confirmed it during his press conference, and from the moment he got on the phone with Flacco, you could tell the decision was locked in. The team even sent a car to bring Joe and his wife straight to Cincinnati. That's how serious they are about this move. Before we dive deeper into the latest Bengals updates, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and don't forget to press the bell icon, that way you'll never miss fresh Bengals news as it breaks. Let's move on to the new news. Now let's talk football. Joe Flacco might be wearing new colors, but the guy's got experience, and that counts. While his recent stats might not jump off the page, it's worth noting that some of those numbers came from a shaky receiving corps elsewhere. Cincinnati, on the other hand, has been sharp, only one dropped pass this season. That reliability could make all the difference as Flacco steps into the pocket in stripes. All eyes are now on how this offense adapts under his leadership. The Bengals wideouts are locked in, and the energy around Paycor Stadium feels different. This could be the spark Cincinnati's been waiting for. Here's something Bengals fans will love. Joe Flacco is on the edge of making NFL history. Just 2 weeks ago, he helped lead the Browns to a win over the Green Bay Packers. Now, he's wearing Cincinnati stripes and could face that same Packers team again, this time as the Bengals' starting quarterback. If he pulls it off, it'll mark the first time in the Super Bowl era that a quarterback beats the same team in one season while starting for two different franchises. That's wild, and it's all unfolding right here in Cincinnati. Now, Flacco wasn't flawless in that last matchup, but he did what mattered most: he won. And that's exactly what the Bengals need right now, someone who can finish games and command the field. Jake Browning gave it everything he had, but the offense just couldn't stretch the field the way it needed to. The deep ball wasn't connecting, the rhythm wasn't there, and every drive felt like a grind. That's why this moment matters. With Joe Flacco stepping in, Cincinnati isn't just getting a veteran arm. They're getting a chance to reset the tone of their season. The locker room needs a spark, and all eyes are on Flacco to deliver it. Alright, Bengals fans, let's talk about it. Is Joe Flacco really an upgrade over Jake Browning? That's the question lighting up every conversation in Cincinnati right now. Let's break it down, the pros first. Flacco's arm strength immediately changes the dynamic of this offense. He can launch the ball deep, and that matters when you've got weapons like Shamar Stewart and T. Higgins constantly finding space downfield. For weeks, we've seen those routes open, but the connection just wasn't there. With Flacco under center, that part of the playbook suddenly comes alive again. Experience is another huge factor. The guy's been in the league for nearly 2 decades. He's seen every blitz, every disguise, every defensive trick in the book. That kind of poise can steady an offense that's been searching for rhythm since Joe Burrow went down. He knows how to make adjustments at the line, shift protection, and get the ball out fast when the pocket starts collapsing, all crucial for a team still fighting through offensive line issues. Now, the cons, and they're real. Flacco's 40 years old. He's not going to outrun pressure or scramble for a first down. Behind a line that struggled at times, that lack of mobility could be a problem. We've seen what happens when Cincinnati's protection breaks down, and that can't continue if this offense wants to stay competitive. So, it's a mix of upside and risk, a powerful arm and veteran instincts against age and limited mobility. But one thing's certain, this move gives the Bengals a new pulse. And after the season they've had, that's something worth watching. Let's be honest, protection has been the Bengals' biggest problem this season. We saw it clearly with Jake Browning. Every snap felt like a race against collapsing pockets and free rushers. Browning barely had time to breathe, let alone let routes develop. And now, as Joe Flacco steps in, that same challenge remains. This isn't just about one quarterback versus another. It's about how the entire offense adjusts under pressure. Cincinnati's line has shown flashes of strength, stretches where they've given their quarterback time to work. But there have also been breakdowns, especially on the edges, that have killed drives before they ever got going. Flacco's experience might be the difference. He's seen every defensive front in the book, and knows how to protect himself with quick reads and checkdowns. Expect to see him rely on shorter timing routes, using Joe Mixon and Chase Brown in the flat, while letting Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins stretch the field just enough to keep defenses honest. Still, there's no hiding the risk. Flacco's not a scrambler. He's not going to bail out of a broken play the way Joe Burrow sometimes can. The offensive line needs to buy him that extra second, because when they do, Cincinnati's offense transforms from predictable to dangerous. And here's where things get exciting. If the line holds and Flacco finds rhythm early, this team can put up points fast. With the Bengals' receiving talent, even a few deep completions can flip the momentum of a game. The key will be balance, protecting Flacco, leaning on the run when needed, and letting the defense rest between possessions. So yes, there are positives and negatives with this move, but it's also an opportunity. The Bengals have been searching for a spark, and this change might be it. Whether it's a short-term fix or the start of a late-season push, how well this offensive line protects Joe Flacco could define the rest of Cincinnati's season. Finally, some great news for the Bengals defense, and it couldn't come at a better time. Head coach Zach Taylor confirmed today that rookie defensive end Shamar Stewart is officially returning to practice. He'll start the week with limited reps, but that's usually a strong sign he's on track to suit up by game day. That's huge for Cincinnati. Stewart, the Bengals' first-round pick, has barely scratched the surface this season. He played in just 2 games before his injury, didn't start the first, but in his second outing, he made an immediate impact, generating pressure and showing exactly why the team invested in him. The defense felt different with him on the field. More push, more disruption, more energy. The Bengals' front line has held its own in his absence. Trey Hendrickson continues to be a force, already stacking up multiple sacks this season. Joseph Ossai and Myles Murphy have both flashed potential in rotation, but Stewart brings something different, that blend of length, power, and first-step quickness that changes how offensive lines block. Getting him back against the Packers could be a major turning point. Green Bay's offensive line has struggled in protection lately, and the Bengals will look to exploit that from the jump. A healthy Stewart gives Cincinnati more flexibility, allowing Lou Anarumo to rotate fresh bodies, dial up pressure, and keep quarterbacks uncomfortable. For a team that's been searching for momentum on both sides of the ball, this is exactly the kind of news Bengals fans wanted to hear. If Stewart suits up Sunday, expect this defense to play with a little extra fire. The good news just keeps coming for the Bengals. After the update on Shamar Stewart, Cincinnati got another boost, this time on the offensive line. Veteran guard Lucas Patrick has officially been cleared to return to practice, opening up his 21-day activation window. That's a big step forward for this unit. Patrick's return doesn't just add experience, it brings stability to a group that's been shuffled too many times this season. With the Bengals rotating between Dalton Risner and Jalen Rivers, it's been hard to find rhythm up front. Getting Patrick back in the mix could help solidify protection and restore some much-needed chemistry across the line. Here's how the process works. Patrick can now practice with the team without immediately taking up a 53-man roster spot. The Bengals have those 21 days to evaluate his progress. If everything goes well, he could be activated and ready to play within that window. If not, he'd have to return to injured reserve for the rest of the season, a scenario everyone in Cincinnati hopes to avoid. The timing couldn't be better. The Bengals' offense is adjusting to a new quarterback in Joe Flacco, and the protection up front will be critical. Patrick's leadership, communication, and toughness could make a real difference, especially in helping the line stay disciplined against Green Bay's aggressive pass rush. Simply put, a healthy Lucas Patrick could be the quiet factor that helps this offense settle down and find consistency again. After weeks of uncertainty, the Bengals finally have a few reasons to feel confident heading into Sunday. One of the most interesting conversations right now among Bengals fans is how the offensive line should look once Lucas Patrick is ready to go. Some are suggesting a shakeup, maybe moving Dalton Risner over to left guard and sitting Dylan Fairchild, while sliding Patrick back in at right guard. It's a fair debate, and it shows just how desperate this team is to find the right combination up front. The truth is, neither Risner nor Jalen Rivers has separated himself in that rotation. Both have shown flashes but also inconsistency, exactly what's been holding this offense back. That's why Patrick's potential return carries real weight. Before he went down, he only played 16 snaps, barely a drive and a half, but in that short stretch, something clicked. The Bengals finally found movement in the run game. That one drive remains one of the only times this season Cincinnati was able to run the ball with rhythm and confidence. Since then, the ground attack has struggled. Chase Brown opened the season with 33 rushing yards on the first drive alone. But in the 4 games that followed, he's averaged just over 31 yards per game. That early burst vanished once the blocking up front started breaking down. Getting Patrick back could quietly change that. He's a steady presence, smart with leverage, quick to pick up stunts, and strong enough to anchor against bull rushes. Even if he's not a miracle fix, he brings experience and communication, 2 things this offensive line has been missing. If Patrick returns and the Bengals can get consistent push inside, it opens up everything: play action, screen passes, and red zone efficiency. It gives Chase Brown a fighting chance to reestablish the run game and take some pressure off Joe Flacco. So while it's still a small sample size, Lucas Patrick's return could be the first real step toward getting this offense back in balance, something the Bengals have been chasing all season.